Well, hello and welcome back, and a huge thank you for coming back, by the way. Where am I? Sitting at one of my favourite places. This is the picnic area just off Mandrea Beach. And the weather, you may have noticed, has turned. We are deep in winter season, rapidly approaching the end of October. We're literally freezing to death. The temperature is about 25 degrees. There's a huge wind coming in off the Mediterranean Sea. And to be honest, the views are not that good. Do you want to have a quick look? Yes, there we go. Let's have a look. Let me show you just how bad the weather is in downtown Mandrea. As you can see, there's a gale kicking up, coming in off the Mediterranean Sea, and it's buffeting us and we are freezing. And to be honest, I should have brought a long sleeve t-shirt with me. That's my mistake. So if you are thinking about relocating to Paphos, this is what you can expect at the end of October. Terrible, terrible weather. So please make sure that you bring with you suitable attire. Certainly a long sleeve t-shirt or two, and perhaps consider to pack a pair of long jeans or trousers, and perhaps bring yourself some all-enclosed flip-flops. Otherwise, you're going to be a little bit cold. Anyway, what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the costs involved if you are thinking about coming and relocating to Cyprus, Paphos in particular, because obviously the cost from city to city do vary quite a lot. The cheapest city, or so I'm told, isn't it? So I'm told, to actually live in is Nicosia. Yes, the capital city. The next cheapest city, so they say, is the Larnaca district. The most expensive by quite a long way is Limassol, and then similar to Larnaca and a little bit more expensive than Nicosia is Paphos. Now Paphos is probably the #1 destination for people like you. What do I mean by that? Well, there's lots of different demographics of people that are choosing to come and live in Cyprus. And from the people that I've met, Paphos is the place that they are choosing. Now, like I say, people go to live in Nicosia, but in general, the foreigners that live in Nicosia will have some connection with Nicosia, and perhaps they are going to work for the UN, perhaps they're working in a consulate. This is quite common with capital cities. When we go towards Limassol, we find an awful lot of Eastern Europeans that reside in Limassol. Now, that's not to say that there aren't British, that there aren't French, that there aren't German, that there aren't Icelandic. There are people of all nationalities living in all quarters of Cyprus. But predominantly the people that I get to talk to choose Paphos. Why do they choose Paphos? They choose Paphos because of its lifestyle, the calmness, the beaches, and they like it. I like it. I've been here 18 years. Now, we all have a love-hate relationship with anywhere that we live, but overall, Paphos is a fantastic place if you're thinking about relocating and setting up shop. Paphos could be that perfect place for you. But how much is it going to cost you to relocate from your mother country to Paphos, Cyprus? Now, obviously, these costs will apply to wherever you are living. But sometimes these are some of the things that people overlook. Some people overestimate the costs, and some people, of course, underestimate the costs. Or perhaps they take for granted certain things. So we're going to picture a scenario of a British couple who are going to relocate from somewhere in the UK to Paphos. They're in their mid-50s and they're both able to work remotely. So that's their income problem solved. Wherever they work in the world and wherever they live in the world doesn't really matter. Their money will be paid, shall we say, into the UK, and then their money will be transferred from the UK to Cyprus. So their income is coming from outside of Cyprus. Now, Many people understand what I'm saying and many people do not. If you are a British foreign national or a third country national, as we are now called, to a European country, you cannot reside in that country and work in that country unless you have got yourself a work permit. Now, I'm not saying you can't get a work permit, but it's not that easy. You'll need to be in a specialist field, you'll need to have someone to sponsor you and someone to apply for that work permit. So predominantly, the people that are relocating from the UK to a European country, in this case Cyprus, are earning their income via the internet and earning it remotely, and then transferring that income from, let's say, the UK into Cyprus. Therefore, they can qualify, provided that income is enough. And what is that requirement? Well, in a nutshell, if there is one of you, that income is €24,000. Now, to make the maths very, very simple and put it into pounds, that's approximately £20,000 per annum. And to be honest, the majority of people in the UK now earn more than that. To be honest, even the odd part-time working person may earn more than that. If you are a couple, that fee will go up to €28,800. To put that into same simple English pounds, that's going to be approximately £25,000 between the two of you. Now, there's not many people in the UK in full-time work that are not earning £50,000. I meet people every single day, and obviously we have to ask these questions to them because we have to understand, is it possible for them to relocate to Cyprus? Now, if you want help and advice and you want someone to hold your hand if you're thinking about relocating to Cyprus, why not reach out to us? Get in contact with us via our website, marikaandme.com. Of course, email relocatetopaphos@gmail.com. Telephone number and of course WhatsApp are in the description on this video. Let's schedule a WhatsApp call and let's get to know each other and find out what you want and what we can do for you, and of course the costs that are involved. Now, back to the costs so that you get a fair idea of how much it's going to cost you if you're coming to Cyprus to start that next chapter, that next adventure in your life. And if you do it, you will not regret it, I promise you. So, we're going to go on the internet, in the UK this is, and we are going to sort out little bits and bobs, some paperwork we've got to do. We've got to sort out our ARCO report, which is our criminal record report. We need a clean criminal record for 10 years, and this couple will obviously get a report for each one of them. Then they're going to have to get it apostolized, in other words, all legalized and stamped up so that it's proved that it's come from the relevant authorities in the UK. Now, the cost of that can be as low as £25, but of course by the time you've apostolized it, perhaps you want it done much, much faster, so you use the express service. It's going to be around about £100 per person. So we'll transport all of these costs now into euros because that's where you're coming, and when you arrive here everything will be in euros. So this couple are going to spend approximately, on the fast track method, to get their ACRO report, criminal record, clean report obviously, around about €250. Now, they're going to need a bit of paperwork to prove where their funds come from, where their source of funds come from. Could be savings, could be dividends, it could be investments, it could be salary. But you're obviously going to have to prove where it comes from. In other words, bank statements, letters of legality from employers, from your accountants, from various bodies, tax and so forth. Get that in order, and that's pretty much what you've got to do on the British side. The next thing, you're going to get back on the internet and you're going to book 2 flights. So So this couple now is going to book 2 flights and they're going to fly into Paphos. Now let's say with a little bit of excess baggage, because they're coming for a little bit longer than a couple of weeks, that it costs them 250 euros each. So there's another 500 euros that they've just spent. The next step, get back on that internet and book some short-term accommodation for when they arrive in Paphos. And let's say they book into an Airbnb for a couple of weeks. And let's say that costs them 500 euros a week. There's another 1,000 euros. When they arrive, they're going to need some kind of transport. They could walk around, obviously, and they could use the bus service. But probably they're going to rent a car. So let's allow another 250 euros per week for the next couple of weeks for that hire car. So there's another 500 euros. So at least now they are set up camp in Cyprus, and for the next 2 weeks they're going to run around like crazy sorting out all of the things that they've got to do. Priority number 1 is to find somewhere to live on a long-term basis. Part of going through the immigration process requires you to have a long-term address. Now perhaps you own a property, that's fine. But the majority of people that we are helping are actually coming out and going down the long-term property rental route. So they rent a property for 12 months. The bills are then changed into their name. That's the electricity, the water, the internet, and of course the local tax, the annual council tax. That's what we're going to call it. And then the contract is stamped up by the Mukhtar and the local town hall office. And then that contract, along with the ACRO report, criminal record report, the private health insurance which you will take out in Cyprus, and of course your passport details will all be registered, and you will start to go down the immigration process. So let's go back a little bit. You've arrived, you're in short-term accommodation, and now you're looking for a rental property which will suit you for the next 12 months. It could be a 1-bedroom apartment, it could be something a little bit nicer like a 2-bedroom townhouse, or it could be something fantastic like a 3 or 4-bedroom villa. Now let's just say that this couple have chosen a nice 3-bedroom villa on a nice complex with a swimming pool and a gymnasium and good access to central Paphos. And their budget is 1,500 euros per month. So there's another 1,500 euros that they've just spent the moment they touched down in Paphos. And they also were requested to pay a security deposit of a further 1 month's rent, so a further 1,500 euros. So I think people are starting to understand now, if you're watching and writing these figures down, that from planning your trip to come and live in Paphos to the first couple of weeks in Paphos, you have gone through somewhere in the region of 5,000 to 6,000 euros. But don't worry, slowly but surely your life will become normal and your expenses will start to diminish. The next one you're going to solve is that transport problem. Do you want to continue to rent a car, perhaps lease a car, or perhaps buy a car? Mixed emotions on that one, isn't there? A lot of people would want to buy a brand new car, but of course that's going to cost you up in the regions of 30 to 40,000 euros. Are you ready to commit that kind of money yet? Maybe not. So a lot of people will either long-term rent a car for 3 to 6 months, or they will go and buy, shall we say, a 10,000 euro car. Now, I always say, if you are going to relocate to Cyprus, you should set aside a budget of around about 25,000 euros. So that's about 20,000 pounds. In that money, obviously, it will cover your cost of relocating, from your airline flights to your Airbnb, to your rental car, to your villa rental first month, and of course that deposit, changing the electricity, changing the water, All of these companies require deposits. The electricity is €350, the water is €300, the internet, depending on which provider, is €300. The only one that doesn't want a deposit when you're changing the bill is the council tax, or the municipality tax as it's called here in Cyprus. And that is approximately, by the way, €200 per annum. So I think just on that note alone, if you're moving from the UK, you will understand that you're already in a saving, because most people will be paying €200 a month on their council tax, or whatever it's called these days in the UK. Here, it's per annum. So back to it. So I always say you're going to need around about 20-ish thousand euros, or a little bit more. Now, obviously, that figure is dictated by you. If you're living in a one-bedroom apartment and perhaps not renting a car, that cost is a lot lower. Everyone has got different criteria, and everyone will choose how they plan their route. But if you do want help and advice, and if you are looking for someone to hold your hand, Marika and myself, M&M Relocation Services, we are here to hold your hand. How do we make our money? That's what people want to know, isn't it? Well, based on the requirements of what you want is where we charge the fee. The fees vary from around about €1,500 up to €5,000. Now, obviously, there's a lot in between. It's to do with the quality of service and what you want. Do you want us to meet and greet you at the airport? Do you want us to take you straight from the airport to your short-term accommodation? Do you want us to have sourced that perfect property for you? Do you want us to source a rental car? Do you want us? I think you get the idea. It all depends on what you want when you move and come and live in Cyprus. Now, I'm going to say a huge thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little episode, and hopefully you'll keep on coming back to the little channel known as Marika and Me. Please drop in the comments, what would you like me to talk about next? And we'll continue on our little mission to hopefully show you how easy it is to come and live in Paphos, Cyprus. And we'd love to meet you. So please don't forget to hunt us down on the internet for the next episode of Marika and Me. Please go and hunt us down on marikaandme.com. Send us an email, relocatetopaphos@gmail.com. Or of course, get in contact with us via telephone or WhatsApp, and let's get to know each other that little bit better. We're here to hold your hand and make sure that your transition from your old country to your new country goes very, very smoothly indeed. Now, as I always promise you, I am going to take you and show you what you are missing. This is downtown Mandrea. This is Mandrea Beach, and there are people walking about. There are people actually swimming in the Mediterranean Sea. There is a fisherman further up, and these are some of the things that you could be doing at the end of October if you come and live in Cyprus. A totally different lifestyle, much calmer lifestyle, a much safer lifestyle. Crime is literally non-existent. The cost of living compared to the UK is around 20 to 25% lower. The taxes, well, obviously it depends how you structure your money, but I promise you the tax system in Cyprus is far, far more beneficial to you than the tax system in the UK and in many, many other countries on mainland Europe. I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and his exact words were, Cyprus is the last bastion of where you can literally escape tax. Massive thank you for watching. Hopefully you'll join me again very, very soon indeed. You enjoy the view. And it's a spectacality of a view indeed.